Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another AFL Fantasy Fanatics pre-lockout chat ahead of round 18. And as you can see, for the people watching along at home, solo pod for me this week. So no guests, no other co-hosts because everyone is busy this Friday. So we did try and get a guest on and should try and get a couple of Fanatics on, but everyone is busy, which is very understandable. But I'm your host, Bales, and you can find me at BAILSDT across the socials. And we'll be answering a heap, obviously, of your questions and in the build up to round 18. So send through all your questions because I'll just be able to answer them myself and rapid fire through a heap of them. So looking forward to that. Obviously, we'll chat about captains, we'll chat about my trades, and we'll do a bit of a quick recap from last night, which is that's what we will start off with, recapping the game last night. And for anyone watching that game, that was a pretty crap game to watch, to be honest. That being on a Thursday night, when even looking at the games on the Saturday, like I'm not no bias towards the Crows whatsoever, but come on, Adelaide, like Bulldogs and Crows being at 12:50 on a Saturday, Giants Geelong being at 3:45 on a Saturday, like surely we can get one of those games. Even St Kilda Sydney, like sure we can get one of those three games on the Thursday night instead of Carlton Brisbane. But anyway, just quickly recapping here. So saw some Brisbane players go big last night. So anyone that had Darcy Wilmot in draft, very, very happy with that 144. Josh Dunkley was probably the big one that if you did have him in your classic side, you'd be very, very happy with his score. 137 season high score, 28 touches with 13 tackles and 6 marks to go along with that. Someone asked me, would that be a game he'd go big? I probably would have said yeah, because Carlton give up points at the moment, and also the fact that it being contested, high stoppage team Carlton are, I would have said, yep, I see that being a good score for Dunkers. He went really well. Lockie Neal as well cashed in with 127. Jared Berry 119. Will Ashcroft 115. Zorko 104. Had a bit of a shin knock. But he said it last 5 minutes pretty much of the game. So that could have, I was probably scared as a non-owner thinking that could have been a 120, 130 just racking up late. But 104 is still fine. Hewitt, the only Carlton, 1-2 players of cut from Carlton to ton up 104 was solid there. Jasper Fletcher 102 and Cripps 101. So high scoring fantasy game. But as you know, probably noticed there's only a couple of players that are fantasy relevant. A lot of players that aren't players that are fantasy relevant, didn't actually score great. So Adam Chera 91. That's okay. Apparently, he's been sent to a tribunal for the umpire contact. Apparently, it's not going to be a suspension. It's only going to be a fine. So, like Planet Ocean in the comments, they're just asking how long will he be out for. Apparently, it's only going to be a fine. And that's what I think John Ralph tweeted out earlier this afternoon. But yeah, interesting that they're going down this path with the umpire contact there. TDK 79, obviously frustrating that he's playing so much forward. And yeah, Sam Doherty was the big one. I'll be probably going on a bit of a rant about this on Sunday night, but do not get me started on some of those Carlton defenders that are playing in there at the moment. People are gonna blame Sam Doherty for he's going to go, oh, he had a couple bad turnovers. And okay, yeah, he did, right? But all halfbacks have some bad turnovers every now and again, right? And I know that I'm only saying this because I got Doherty in my fantasy team. Yep, that is correct. But Lockie Cowan, Ollie Hollands, and Matt Carroll get out of the team. That's as simple as that. Maybe Cowan can stay because at least he actually can defend. But Matt Carroll, my God, twice in a row, giving away a free kick back-to-back in the space of a minute. And then he's smiling about it after. I'm like, mate, there's nothing to be smiling about. Like, you shouldn't be in the team. Ollie Hollands, like, why do they keep persisting with him at halfback? I don't understand. Sam Doherty probably could have had a better score if the teammates had actually given it to him. I don't know if you guys would, if it was just me being blinded by owning Sam Doherty. He's on my bench anyway, so I was looping him, but I thought he got ignored a heap last night, and that could have been at least an 80. But anyway, 69, disappointing. He'll be going for all of us pretty much next week. He's got Melbourne. It's a good matchup, right? But we're not keeping guys that aren't topping the line past even regardless of the matchup. So unfortunately, he'll have to go. Hugh McCluggage, unfortunately, copped the Chincotta tag, so they're going to. Looks like Carlton is still going to be running that tag. I had a feeling that if Carlton were going to tag someone, it could have been McCluggage. I thought it was going to be Lockie Neal, but it was McCluggage. 64, disappointing if you've got him as a pod, because I know that he's been very good all season. That's his first real poor score since like round 2 or 3. So he's been really good, but unfortunately, a bad score. Levo with a 62 for anyone that still might have him. Lohman got a 61 as well, so if you still got him, he made about 20, 30K for you as well. Ashton Moy with a 50. and even that could have been a kick 3 behinds, but looked all right up forward for Carlton. So I think they're going to persist with him. So if you did jump on him, I know I did last night, I think he will be playing for pretty much the remainder of the year. I think they've got to, really. So, and then really it was, Flynn Young, 34. And that's pretty much that. And then unfortunately, Noah Answorth ruptured Achilles was the bad one last night from an injury standpoint. So I know Fantasia, I think, had a bit of a hamstring issue, but Noah Answorth, that was the one that really sucked. So he is unfortunately going to be missing a fair chunk of footy. Moving over to my trades and players I had last night. So I only had the 2 players last night. So I had Doherty on the bench at D6 looping side, Buslinger as the red dot, obviously 69. If anyone is thinking, do you take that or do you play McCarthy? You play McCarthy. 69 is not good enough. We needed probably at least an 80 to consider taking it. I was more looking for a 90 because I would have just liked to have taken on McCarthy's score and gone into that. So I think I'm playing McCarthy there, and I had Ashton Moore as an emergency in the forward line. I didn't expect him to score really anything to bench anyone, but I thought, well, on the off chance he does, that would be good. But he 50, good cash gen. So that leads into my trade. So I went Lohman down to Ashton Moore last night. That banked a heap of cash. Then I went Miles Bergman. And at the moment, I've got Zach Merritt in my team at the moment, bringing in this week. And I'm looking at it as a 1-week play potentially, if everything goes to plan, which we know fantasy won't, right? So bringing him in against Richmond. Currently got the C on him. I'll go through my captains in a sec. But I've thought about Whitfield. I've thought about Goulden. I've thought about Butters. But looking at all 3, I'd rather Merritt over Butters this week. So that's why I'm going there. Whitfield, I think, will drop cash. And Goulden, I do think, gets the Windhager tag. I just think Windhager's been playing not as much midfield time last 2 weeks. I think he had 0 CBOs against Freo. And he had 8 CBOs against Hawthorn last week, playing a bit more on the wing. I think he could go to Errol Goulden this week, so I don't want to pay up for someone that could cop a tag. I'm happy to get Goulden next week, which with these trades here, I've got 182K. So ideally, it would be best case scenario, it would be going Zach Merritt and Sam Doherty out next week for Whitfield and Goulden, which we'll see if that's the case. But if I got to hold Merritt's fine, plays next Thursday night, I can loop him on the Thursday night, see how he goes. And if Giants haven't tagged as much this year as well, so maybe he's fine. Then he's got the Dogs, which tough matchup, but no tag there. And then I'll look at trading him post that Dogs game before they play Sydney. So that is what I'll be doing with those ones. So let's get into captains. So it's pretty quick, only 8 minutes, and we've gone through trades and everything. Obviously, we've got a super chat here. So thanks, Matt. If you do want to chuck in a super chat, then feel free. You will get a guaranteed answer if you put in a super chat. So Matt has said, Luke Chera, but now all my red dots are playing. So A, can go Madden to a 230K red dot and Caldwell to Nasiah, or B, loop with Caldwell, Dale and Clark to Whitfield, Merritt, or Butters, but Phil McCarthy. I think you've got to trade Caldwell. I think you $1 million on the bench is too much to hold. I know that you're going like Dale and Clark to 2 of those guys, but I think Madden to a red dot, have them as the loop, because then you've got that red dot loop moving forward. Madden's got a bit of cash on his head. I'd go Caldwell out. Whether you have to get Nasiah this week or not, I'm not sure. I think if there's going to be a couple of weeks where you don't get Nasiah, it's the next 2. So he's got Sydney this week. I would be shocked if Jordan or Braden Campbell don't go to him. I'm sure both at some point will be on him. But, maybe Jordan goes to him because they don't really have anyone else to tag at St Kilda. Maybe Sinclair potentially, if like Jordan goes to one, Campbell the other. Maybe Campbell goes to Sinclair potentially and Jordan goes to Nasiah. And then he's got Geelong the week after. So that could be a Mullen. That could be someone. I would be shocked if Geelong didn't put someone on Nasiah. So I'd prefer the Nasiah option, but whether you go for Nasiah or you go for another option, Matt, is obviously the question there. But I'd go for that one. Caldwell's got to go. He's out for the remainder of the year. If Carnage strikes and you've got him next week and you've traded a couple of guys, I don't think Clark has to go either. I think he's got a good 3-week stretch, I think, where he can go well. So, that's where I'd go with that one there, Matt. And if you want to go for a Whitfield, Butters, Merritt instead of Nasiah, bank cash for next week, maybe 23rd Primo maybe could come into play. So, I would go for that option. Let's go through my top 10 captains ahead of round 18. So obviously we do the more in-depth breakdown in the video yesterday. So if you want to check out the full video of captains, then you can do that. But my top 10 this week. So I've got Nick Dacos at number 1. Actually, I might be able to I might be able to pull up the captain's challenge, make it slightly easier. Because I'm the only one on the pod today, I might just be able to pull up the captains on here. Might be easier, actually, because then it will be displayed on the screen instead of me just talking about it and you just see my face the whole time. So here we go. Actually, yeah, this is good. I like this. So my top 10 captains, and you can see my top 5 on the screen there. So I've got Nick Dacos at number 1 against Gold Coast tonight. So obvious VC there. 150, 115, 150, 117 in his last 3 against Gold Coast. I think he has a big night tonight. 4 of his last 6 have been over 125 points. So he's obviously in amazing form as well. And Damien Hart's pretty much come out and said they're not going to tag him, right? So I think he's in for a big night, and he sits at number 1 based on form, matchup, and everything in between pretty much. So that's why I like him tonight. Number 2, I've got Zach Merritt against Richmond. So obviously we know he scored 149 against them earlier this year. Before that, 109, 158, 125, 105. Another great matchup against Richmond. And back in the midfield, back dominating. So I think he'll go well. So I've got Zach Merritt at number 2. Number 3, I've got his teammate Nick Martin, 166 against Richmond earlier in the year, 102, 104 in his 2 games before that. I got him just below Zach Merritt at the moment, just because I'm unsure what role he's going to play, right? Is he going to play in the midfield with Caldwell and that out? Is he going to play that half-forward role he's played for all these? Is he going to be a half-back? Who knows? Or on a wing. Probably not half-back out of all of them, but still, I think the matchup's great for someone like him. Probably just got more certainty in Zach Merritt's role. So I've got him at 2, Martin at 3. I've got Grundy at 4. So he's obviously been amazing form. And Ryan Marshall over the last 5 weeks has been giving up the most points to rucks. There in Grundy, obviously, we know he's been in amazing form. Hasn't gone below 110 points since, I believe it was what round was it actually? It was like round 7. It's been a long, long time since he's gone below 110. So last time, round 9, where he went 115. So 115, 111, 134, 124, 139, 121, 137, 113. Just big scores, and against tough opponents in there as well. So Grundy, I like him. Connor Rozee at number 5, West Coast. Being at Adelaide Oval, I think, is a lot better than being at Optus. 111, 133, 119 against West Coast in his last 3. I like this matchup for Connor Rozee and think he goes well. So I think he's a really good captain option if you want to go the VC on one of the Richmond, one of the Essendon boys, or you want to go the VC on Nick Dacos and just go into Rozee there. I like that. 6 3 10. I got Butters at 6 against West Coast. Again, good matchup for him. I think he goes really well. 107 in his last game against West Coast. I got Noah Anderson at 7. Really good history against Collingwood. I know they're a tough matchup, but 140, 123, 116, 113 in his last 4 against Collingwood. And no tag coming for Anderson. I think he goes well. I've got him at number 7. Got Bailey Smith at number 8. 149 against Giants earlier in the year. But I do think that he will cop a bit of attention from a Bedford. So that's why he's lower down the list. And just because Giants, I know he went big against them earlier in the year, but still a tough matchup. I did have Hugh McCluggage at number 9. I didn't think he was going to get the tag. I thought it was going to go to Neil, but had him at number 9 as a VC option. But a lot of people wouldn't have gone there, I wouldn't imagine. And number 10, I do have Jordan Dawson. And I've got Bont at number 11. I've probably got them like 10A, 10B. I think even though Adelaide and Dogs are hard for midfielders to score against, I think this is a game where both these guys, as the captains of the club, they just stand up, and I think they'll go well. I think they'll go head-to-head with one another. I don't think Crows don't run tags. Dogs don't run tags really either. I think they go head-to-head with each other in the midfield. So I do think both will score quite well. And I had Whitfield and Tom Green just outside as well. I don't mind their matchups. More Tom Green probably over Whitfield, but you're probably not looking at those guys as captains this week. So my plans this week, VC Nick Dacos, and then if I bring in Zach Merritt, he'll be the captain. If I'm bringing in, if I don't bring him in, I bring in a Butters or a Whitfield or a Goulden. I'll be going Nick Martin as my captain against Richmond. So let's go through these questions as well. So if you guys are tuning in live, chuck them in the comments and I'll answer a heap of these because obviously I won't have to bounce my these off anyone. So I'll be able to fly through these really, really quickly. So if you get your questions in, feel free. I'll try and answer as many as I can. If you did want to guarantee and answer your question, you can leave a super chat if you'd like, but I hope that I can get to your question anyway. So Kyle Mann, trade Sam Darcy or Caleb Sarong? Yeah, it's an interesting. This is a tough one, right? So probably depends who you're bringing in, Kyle. I think that what Sarong has struggled the last couple of weeks, and it's against Hawthorn, massive break even. I don't know who exactly would go to him. Finn McGuinness is back, but Hawthorn haven't really tagged much this year. So I'm a bit worried about Sarong this week. I'll probably go Sarong out because I think you can probably gain 15, 20 points moving forward week to week with all these tough matchups. So Sarong goes Hawthorn this week, then he goes into Collingwood and then West Coast. So it's not actually a bad 3-week stretch for Sarong. So if you did want to keep him, you could go like Darcy to so pretty much you're looking at probably Darcy to McRae or Sarong to one of these other mids. Yeah, this is a really tough one. Darcy's got Crows and then Brisbane next two, so I don't love that. Actually, no, trade out Darcy. Trade out Darcy. Keep Sarong. I know he's got a huge break in, but I think he does bounce back with a ton this week. So I'd go Darcy, bring in a McRae type player that you haven't got. That's what I'll be doing. Vanessa Valentine. Hey, Bales, would you go Sarong to Dacos or Darcy Cameron to Whitfield or Martin? Thanks. I think it's Sarong to Dacos here. I know you probably trained Darcy Cameron, but I don't love training Darcy Cameron to another position and playing Jackson in the ruck. If you train Darcy Cameron, it's got to be to a Grundy. It's got to be to well, I would have said Marshall, but with Heath back in, I wouldn't go to him this week. So I'd just keep Darcy Cameron. I'd go Sarong to Dacos. And Kyle, that may change my decision. If you didn't have a Nick Dacos, Sarong to Dacos this week sounds pretty nice. So maybe do Sarong to Dacos and keep Darcy, but it depends who you're bringing in, Kyle. That would change there. But Vanessa, for your question, yeah, Sarong to Dacos for me is the one I'd be doing. Darting Koost says, red dot to McKercher, no cash left, and Doc on bench, or Flanders to Whitfield with spare cash. I think I'm leaning towards the red dot to McKercher. Well, actually, no. Dunning Cost. Instead of going red dot to McKercher, I would just go Flanders to McKercher and bring Whitfield in next week. Wait till Whitfield's dropped a bit of cash. Get McKercher in now, get that money, and then bring him in the following week. That's what I'll do there, Dunning Koost. Your boy Xana, thoughts on Boxall to Houghton for DPP? Got no mid forward in the mids. Well, from what a lot of Richmond fans, and I heard Mitch talking about it on the show just before, on the Ball Boys show just before, that Houghton's got some pretty good junior numbers, which if we were looking at Houghton probably 6, 7, 8 weeks earlier, I would have said, yep, go for it. You can launch. But this time of the year, I don't really want to pay up for these rookies unless you need the cash gen. And in that case, I'd like you could go for Houghton instead. But like I went Ashton Moore last night because he was 230K, save as much cash as possible, get that money on field. Even though I'm not getting it all on field this week, I'll get it on field in the next couple of weeks. And Boxall's named this week, right? So you could arguably hold. I just don't think going to Houghton is what I'd be doing this week, even though he's mid-forward, handy. I think I'd just be saving cash a bit with these rookies now. Angus McKinnon, Merritt, Whitfield or Goulden? Already gone Loman to Butters. So Loman to Butters, great trade, Angus. Very, very good trade there. So Merritt, Whitfield or Goulden? So this is, again, really the question I've been asking myself this week, and I've added Butters into that conversation. I'm going Merritt this week because I feel like my team, I don't have a huge amount of issues, touch wood, obviously. If I get Carnage right, I'm happy to hold Merritt for a couple of weeks, right? But at the moment, I don't have any other pressing guys besides Doc, but I've got cash to upgrade him as well as Merritt. I'm going Merritt to get the most points this week because I think he's going to score the most, and then I can trade if I need to, but if I need to hold, I'm happy. If you're thinking like that and you want the guy that's going to score the most this week, it's Merritt. But if you're trying to get someone that you want for the remainder of the year, it's probably get Goulden this week and then get Whitfield next week. Let Whitfield drop in cash and then get him next week. That's how I would probably answer the question, right? If you're looking for a 1 to 3 week play, it's Merritt. But if you're wanting some for the remainder of the season, it's probably Goulden this week and then Whitfield next week. What do we got here? Matt 435, Goulden, Butters, Merritt, or Whitfield? Again, the exact question I'm asking. So I hope I answered that there, Matt, for you with that one. As I said, I'd go Merritt if you want a 1 to 3 week play. If you're wanting some for the remainder of the year, maybe you go Butters. I'd probably go Butters over Goulden this week because he's got the better matchup. And then you can get Goulden next week. But then you're probably thinking, well, how am I going to get Goulden and Whitfield next 2 weeks? So if you want Goulden and Whitfield next 2 weeks, go Goulden or Whitfield this week, the other one next week. That's what I'd say there. What do we got? Jaiden, Jack Martin or Max Hall, and Goulden or Anderson? Good question, this one. Martin or Hall? I think I like Martin better. Sorry, not Martin. Max Hall better. I think the role's better for him. I think he's playing a lot more up the ground, a lot more around the stoppage. Jack Martin obviously is playing in defence, right? But I don't love the Giants matchup this week. And I believe, but they've got the Saints next week, don't they? Yeah, they do. What's Max Hall's break even? That's what I probably want to know. Max Hall's break even is 10. Jack Martin's break even is 9. So that they're going to go about the same amount of cash anyway. I think I'm Max Hall because I think he's got a better ceiling and a more consistent ceiling than what, because Martin's only score over 85 was against Richmond. And then Giants, St Kilda, but St Kilda North is good as well. But then we know that St Kilda's run coming up is really good. So I would go for Max Hall out of those personally. And then Goulden or Anderson. I think I'm Goulden. I think Anderson's run does get tougher for the remainder of the year. If you brought him in a few weeks ago, you'd be pretty happy. But he does come up against Collingwood this week, which he's got a good record against him. I think he scores well. But then goes Adelaide and Brisbane, 2 tougher matchups. Then Richmond, which will be good. He's got an average of 127.8 in his 4 games against them there. Then he's got Carlton, Giants, Port to finish. So his next 5 weeks, his next 4, he won't cop really any attention. But then, Carlton, Giants, Port, there may be something there. But I'd go Goulden. I think I'd go Goulden there. Shannon Barron, does anyone know about Max Gawn's injury? Is Max Gawn injured? That's the first time I've heard about it. If he's injured, then let me know. Someone let me know in the comments because I haven't heard anything about it. Stu, hey, Bales, VC Merritt into Butters or just stay with the pack and go Dacos into Merritt? I think you just go Dacos into Merritt, Stu. I know you're in the top 20. I just think you got to go Dacos tonight, VC. It's a good matchup. And the crowd's going there. Normally, sometimes I try and look for the unique VC or the unique captain, but I just think this is not a matchup I want to go against. So I'm Dacos into Merritt personally. Connor Vanderploeg, rank Doc and Goulden. Rankin and Doherty to Goulden and McRae. Yep, good trades there. Martin and Butters or McRae and Butters, a bit of cash for next week. Okay, so you got Rankin and Doc are gone. So is it Goulden and McRae, Martin and Butters, or McRae and Butters? I think this week it's Martin and Butters, and then next week go get Goulden or McRae, whichever one you can get to. That's what I'd probably be doing. I think Martin the sugar hit this week against Richmond. You want him. I know he's got a big break even, but I'd be going for Martin this week with the matchup. I wouldn't actually be opposed to going Martin and McRae if you wanted to go McRae over Butters, but I think Butters this week's a good option. So I'd go for Martin and Butters there. Eliza, Phil Johnson or McCarthy? Lost my Liddy loop. I think you've got to go for McCarthy. I know Johnson got a great matchup against Richmond, right? But he's a guy that can be subbed out. He's got a low floor. McCarthy's got a fairly high floor from what we've seen. Obviously, it could change, right? But he's got kick-ins. He's got that half-back role. I think he'll go okay, even in a tough matchup against Port Adelaide. So I think I'm McCarthy still. Sam Watts, hi Bars. Which trade do you prefer? Caldwell to Goulden and Rankin or Darcy to McRae? Caldwell to Goulden, Rankin or Darcy to McRae. Yeah, if I had to trade one, it'd be probably Darcy just to get rid of that key forward. Or Caldwell to Merritt and Flanders to Butters. Cheers. Ooh. I think this week it's Caldwell to Merritt, Flanders to Butters, I reckon. I'd be going that way, and you can get Goulden next week, potentially from someone. That would be what I'd look at doing potentially. But again, Sam, it depends what you're doing next week. Like if I'm not trading a forward this week, I've got to get rid of one next week, then maybe I'd then lean back towards the first option. Just get Goulden in, get McRae in, then you can look at trading Flanders next week. But personally, I just think Flanders is capped at 90. And you get Merritt and Butters in, which are 2 good ins. And you could make an argument that you could go Whitfield as well over one of those 2 guys. John Sanzera, watch song tonight? Yes, there is. Yep. Obviously, I haven't started the stream yet, but yes, there will be a watch song for Gold Coast and Collingwood. So looking forward to that one. So if you are tuning in live now or on the replay of this, and it's while the watch song's going, then we'll be live a couple of hours on there. So it'd be good to see a huge amount of people tuning in. And seeing hopefully Nick Dacos go big. So hopefully Josh Dacos as well for that matter, going well. Cool. I answered that that question from Connor before. We'll buy it. Bales, I can go long to Whitfield, but I'm not sure. Should I trade out Dale to long and for Merritt or Whitfield? Okay, so Dale or long to Merritt or Whitfield. I think I'm still long out over Dale. I know that Dale's probably hasn't got great matchups coming. If you think he's going to get some attention against the Crows, then maybe you trade him out and you keep long for one more week. But Dale to Whitfield makes a lot of sense this week. I know that but then again, it probably makes sense next week as well. I still think Dale will score more, but maybe this week, Long scores more than Dale. What's Dale's break even? 137. So if it drops like an 80, he's going to be down at like near 900k. So you're going to lose a lot of money. 87, 90 in their 59 last 3 weeks. His next month isn't very good. Adelaide, Brisbane, Essendon, Giants, which obviously Essendon's good, but Giants isn't. And yeah, apparently there's Xander Maguire tweeted before that Pendles is going to be the starting sub tonight. So there is an argument you could go Dale to even Merritt this week and then go long to Whitfield next week. You could do that. I'll still say long to Merritt this week, and you can do Dale to Whitfield next week. But yeah, it's a tricky one, Will. It's a good question. Jay Suds, bringing in Merritt literally screams what people are going through with Sarong. It's silly, really, when you could get a Whitfield who wouldn't leave your side for the rest of the year. Well, yeah, I'm looking at, I'm banking 180k in this week anyway. I can get Whitfield and Goulden next week from Doherty and Merritt, for example, or another player that gets ruled out, right? So, I feel like that I'm in a position where I can do that. But in saying that, if something happened tonight or early tomorrow in the first game, then I would adjust trades. And I still might not go through it, right? I'm still looking at Butters. I'm looking at Whitfield. Like, if I'm probably going to go one, it's probably Butters, because then I'll just get Whitfield next week anyway. Or I might it'd probably be Butters or Goulden. That's probably what I'm tossing up. I've got the main to get Goulden this week. I just think he gets the Windhager tag, so I don't want to jump into someone that will get a tag, but still tossing it up. Will, what was more of a crash out? Doc and Carlton last night, or Shea Bolton not touching the ball into the last quarter and kicked the goal against Port? No, definitely last night. It was awful. Tom says, sucks being stuck with Chera on the bench. Phil, for you. See what you're saying there. What do you got? Andrew says, Sam Flanders to Butters and O'Sullivan to Stevens, main 74K. Yeah, great trades, Andrew. Tick from me. Butters good in this week, and Stevens on your bench. I'll make a bit of cash for you. So, yep, good trades there. Castle Richards, hey, Bales, who scores less this weekend, Bergman or Rankin? Probably Rankin. Who scores less because he's just going to be stuck forward. Whereas if Bergman is in defence against West Coast, you can still go okay. If he's in the mids, obviously, I think he'll go well. So I think Rankin scores less this week. Matt, but then again, depends who you're bringing in. You can probably bring in a better defender than a midfield, than a forward. Sorry, but if you're going like Rankin and McRae, I'd do that this week and go Bergman to like Whitfield next week. Matt says, cheers, not having the Sire Rosie means no longer in the top 100 after last week, but we'll see how we go. Well, if you're looking at Nasai or Rosie this week, I'm Rosie. If you don't have Rosie, I'm going Rosie over Nasai this week. Like, Rosie's got West Coast, great matchup. Then he goes into Hawthorn, Adelaide, Geelong that's the next month. Then goes Freo, Carlton, Gold Coast. I think Rosie he's very close to Nasai, right? And I don't think there's any tags next couple of weeks. So I would actually go for Rosie, Matt, if you don't have both. I would go Rosie this week, get Nasai in a couple of weeks. Tom Lai says, just make sure your tabs are in check, Bales. I might be missing the joke. Make sure your tabs are in check. Am I missing the joke? I might be missing the joke. Apologies, Tom. I'm probably missing the joke there, but a few people said it was funny. So, hey, I'll take the word for that it was funny, but maybe I'm missing it, or maybe I'm just focused on the questions. I'm not sure, but appreciate it there, Tom. Obviously, shout out to you, one of the Hat Chat League 6 members there. So, shout out to you, mate. Larry 177, Dale or Rankin to trade out. And to either McRae or Whitfield. I can loop Dale and McCarthy if needed. I think that makes the decision. I think I'd like McRae this week, Whitfield next week. But I think Rankin to McRae this week, if you can loop Dale and McCarthy anyway, I'd be doing that one. So that's what I'd be doing. Your boys, Anna, thoughts on box? Oh, yeah, I said it before. Khalil says, hey, Bales, would you pivot trades and bring in Merritt this week instead of Whitfield to allow Doc to Whitfield next week? Well, that's what I'm doing. So I would say yes, but I know a few people would say no. Andrew says he's looking at Doc to Whitfield next week. That'll be a very common trade. McRae or Horn-Francis and 200k cash, says Gene. I'm McRae over Horn-Francis. Scott Medano, hey, Buzz, can you shout out the Lockout podcast? Legend, mate. Love your work. Well, there you go. Shout out to the Lockout podcast. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with their work, but I'm sure they do good stuff. So, Scott, thank you for the questionnaire and shout out to the Lockout podcast there. I might have to check it out there. I'm not sure if I've tuned in yet. Will buy it. It's Dale or Long for my question, not two. Oh, yeah, no, Will, that's what I was saying. Yes, I know it was one of the two. I'm saying that it's a tricky one. I think I'd still back Dale in and trade Long, but Long's got a good matchup this week. We've got 4 minutes until these subs come out as well, so we'll be doing that soon. Clinton Jonas, trade Connor Stone for Rouston or trade Dale for Whitfield or Ash. I wouldn't be doing Stone or Rouston now, Clinton. I think Rouston's done. Like, you can't get him anymore. He's near 400k. So I'll be going Dale to... Ooh, I think I'm Whitfield. He's cheaper, and I think he can put up good numbers for end of the year. If you can get Ash this week and then you're guaranteed to get Whitfield next week, then I'd by all means go Ash this week, Whitfield next week. But I think if you're going to get one, it's Whitfield. Max Henson, I think you've won the game day squad matchup after one game. I played Diamond McCluggage last night. Yeah, no, we got the tag, unfortunately. So sorry about that, Max. But again, we'll see how we go. And I'm matched up against you in a game day squad matchup, so we'll see. John Sanders, thoughts on these moves, please, Bales, Rankin and Caldwell to McRae Butters. Yeah, tick. Great trades. Yep, ticking those off, definitely. Jimmy, hey, Bales, thoughts on McRae as a mid, or should I get another mid around his price? Leaves with enough cash for Whitfield next week as a final rookie off-field start McCarthy one more week. Yeah, so McRae's, what is he? He's priced at 934. If you can get a Butters or a Merritt this week, I prefer those two over McRae this week, but I don't mind the move of getting McRae into your midfield. You can easily... put him in your forward line next week and trade a Daniel or Rankin or Darcy or whoever you've got to a mid next week. So it's up to you, Jimmy. That's probably a gut call there. I'm happy with McRae if you want to bring him in this week, but I also like Butters with West Coast, Merritt with Richmond. I'd go probably one of those two if I had to pick. But yeah, that's what I'd do. Tim Ashworth's got a super chat. Thank you, mate. He's saying, is it okay to go Cherry to Butters, Dale to Whitfield, and then go Daniel to McRae next week? Yeah, mate, tick for me. Great trades. Yeah, Cherry to Butters, good trade. Butters got the good matchup this week, and then Dale to Whitfield's a great trade as well. So yeah, Daniel to McRae, you could do that next week. I'm locking those two trades in. So good trades there, Tim. Raymond Chav, choose two to trade in of Butters, Whitfield, Merritt. I think I'm Merritt and Butters and get Whitfield next week. That's what I'm probably doing, I reckon. John Sanders, what's more important to bring in next week if you had to choose one of Whitfield or Goulden? That's a tricky one. It's probably Whitfield because he's cheaper. But Goulden against North next week could be good. But then they got Giants the week after. Wouldn't be shocked if Bedford went to Goulden next week. Sorry, the week after. But I think it's Whitfield, but you probably want both, right? So if you can't guarantee getting both next week, John, maybe you go Goulden this week and get Whitfield next week, or you get Whitfield this week, Goulden next week. That's what I'll be doing. What do you got here? A few. Appreciate everyone putting their questions in again, just to make sure I didn't miss them. John Nichols got home late. Glad I didn't miss the preview. Oh, mate, you're in time. I won't be going for live for probably too long just because I'm the solo on the solo pod this week and I'll get ready for the watch long. So I'll give myself a bit of time there, but we'll keep answering questions for at least another 10, 15 minutes. What do we got here? Clinton Jonas, bring Rowson or Houghton. If you've got to go one, it's Taj Houghton, but I would save a bit of cash. Unless you need the cash gen, then as I said, then go for maybe a Houghton, save a bit of money there. Going to go Caldwell to Merritt and Darcy to Whitfield, says John. Yeah, great trades there. Yeah, Caldwell to Merritt, Darcy to Whitfield. Tick for me. Jack Muntz, Togs and Issue, says Tom Lai. Yeah, agree. Yep, I agree with that for sure. Limit says, hey, Buzz, you get my team review. Yes, I did. Yeah, I'll be answering that literally right after I finish this pod. So thank you, Limits, for letting me know. But I will be answering that once we do that. Penal subs interesting, says Tom. Yes, I know. It is interesting, but that's what Collingwood are going to do. They're going to rest these guys, obviously moving forward. So what do we got here? I just want to check the subs because it's 6:40 for Eastern States. So I just want to see if there's any late adjustments or anything like that. No, so they haven't been announced just yet. I don't think so. We're still waiting on those. Jack, please convince me on Butters. I've been trying to avoid Tatarts all year, but he seems great value. I can't talk you out of it. He's got West Coast this week. Good matchup. I think he's a good target, Butters. So I would tick it off if you're looking at it. Defenders, bro, should I do Errol Goulden this week or save some cash and go either Butters or Merritt? And if so, which two to get out of the two? I'd probably put it this way, defense, bro. If you can't guarantee that you can get Goulden and then Whitfield next week, I would go Goulden this week, get Whitfield next week. But if you've already got Whitfield or you've got enough cash to go both next week, then go Butters or Merritt. I'm going Merritt over Butters this week, but I'm looking more at a shorter term play. If you want someone longer term, maybe it's Butters. Anthony Beresford, hopefully tonight's a better game to watch the watch along. Yes, mate, I hope so as well. I would be shocked if it wasn't, so I think it will be. John Sanders, Spice take Ned Long goes 110 as him and Rao tackle it out of each other. Tackle it out together. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked, to be honest, if that happened. But yes, it could be a bit spicy after a sort of lower scores lately. Will says, looking at going Dale to Whitfield. Think scores very similar to Dale. Yep, tick. So I like that trade. Yeah, if you're going to do that, keep Long, Will, and you can do Long out next week. Mark Fisher, hey, Bales, doing a great job as usual. Thank you, mate. Very much appreciated. Have already traded out Doc and Chera, bringing in Whitfield, and then deciding between Merritt and McRae. Having Cameron at F6 will have to survive another week. Yeah, I'm Merritt this week. Get McRae next week. But again, if you want Whitfield next week, you want Gould next week, you want someone else, then maybe you go McRae this week to guarantee you can get those guys next week. But this week, I'm going Merritt. What have we got here? Don't like McRae this week. He'll be lucky to get 85, says Andrew. Yeah, that's a good point. Sydney's not a good matchup. So, yep, not a bad call there, Andrew. Mo, McRae or Butters? On Butters this week, Mo. Get McRae next week. What is Butters' average for the rest of the season, says Tony? Probably 100 to 105. He'll have some games where he'll go well, but I think there's maybe a tag or two coming for him. But I still think he goes well enough and close enough to top 8, if not top 8. Henry, who are the best captain options this week? So, yeah, went through the captains a little bit earlier, and I have put up a video yesterday going through the captains as always, so I do more of an in-depth chat about them. But I've got Dacos, the Essendon boys in Zach Merritt, Nick Martin, then Brody Grundy, Rosie is my top 5. So they're and that's in order. So I like Dacos VC tonight, and then going into one of the Essendon guys is probably my preferred play this week. Subs for tonight is David Swallow and Scott Pendlebury as well. So they are the subs. No late changes for either side. So that is what we're looking like tonight. Liam DMD, who's going to make more cash the next 4 weeks? Will Dawson or Rhett Bazzo? Well, I think you just go Bazzo, Liam, because he's 230k. Will Dawson I wouldn't be touching. So, yeah, I'd be going for Bazzo. Henry, who's best to bring out of Zach or Butters? Well, he's the same player. I'm assuming you're meaning Zach Merritt or Butters. I'm going Merritt over Butters, but if you want a longer-term play, it's probably Butters for longer term, because I think Merritt could be 1 week and then we'll cop some tags. Andrew, why are we waiting on Whitfield? Going to be other options next week, for example, Dunkley. It's a good point. Yeah, you don't have to wait on Whitfield for sure. You can definitely go him this week, right? I guess if you're just looking at, well, if people are going Butters, Merritt, Goulden, guys like that this week, they've got decent matchups. They go, well, let Whitfield drop slightly. Even if he doesn't drop, you bring him in next week because he's still cheap. You probably just want the better matchup, which is those midfielder guys this week. The one-man show, Buzz says, Will. Yes, mate, just a solo one today. Matt says, hey, Buzz, only just hopped on. Not sure if you've answered, but would you go Butters or Merritt? Getting Whitfield my second trade, so I want to potentially get Goulden next week. Yeah, so I'm, again, as I've said, if you want a short-term play, it's Merritt. If you want the probably rest of the season, it's probably Butters. But then again, Merritt's probably got the same amount of tags as Butters, right? So I think I'm Merritt, but both are decent options. Where we got here? Detonator. Hey, Bales, who goes first out of Bergman and Long? Probably Bergman, to be fair. If you can go Bergman still to a mid as well, it's probably Bergman, just because we know what Long's role is going to be, whereas Bergman could be defense, he could be midfield. We just don't know. So I'd probably go Long, keep Long this week, and I'd trade Bergman, but it is a tricky one. The check your tabs joke from earlier was when you brought up the captain's challenge. He was just making sure you didn't have any risky. Okay, yeah. So that's what That's why I missed it. Okay, yeah, now I get it. Okay, now I get it. Yeah, that's funny. I like that one. It's a good one. Noah Anderson has been going on the radar. He's averaged 116 his last three and doesn't have the worst run, says Henry. Yeah, mate, he's been good, right? So he's getting it done. And he's still a decent option if you're looking to go there. Just think there's midfielders have got better matchups moving forward, I think, for the next few weeks. Which two would you grab out of Merritt, Butters, and Whitfield? I'd go Merritt, Butters this week and get Whitfield next week. But in saying that, if you are looking at Goulden next week and you can't get Whitfield and Goulden, I would change to going one of Merritt or Butters and get Goulden or Whitfield get Whitfield this week and then get Goulden next week. Which out of Merritt and Butters, as I said, short-term plays Butters is Merritt, longer-term plays Butters. I'm going Merritt because I'm in a position where I can trade Merritt whenever I need to. Whereas Butters, you probably want, if you're going to hold him for a bit longer, if you've got other issues, if you've still got Bourbon, Long, Rankin, Darcy, some of these guys, then maybe trading, bringing in Butters is better. But yeah, I think I've raced through all the questions. I reckon that's all the questions in the chat there. So I'll be live for another couple minutes before we do wrap up. But it is good that we've smashed through all the questions there. So any last minute question, if you're tuning in live, we've got a fair few people tuning in. So if you'd like to chuck in a question, then feel free. If you'd like to put in a super chat, feel free. And I'll be answering a couple of questions just before we do wrap up as well. John Sanders, would you keep Rankin this week and trade Ned Long to Whitfield? Or would you trade Rankin to McRae and then can only get either one of Goulden or Whitfield? Ooh, that's a good question. I think I'm long to Whitfield then. But then it's like, then you've got to keep Rankin for 2 weeks. If Rankin puts up a sinker, you probably want to trade. Yeah, I think I'd rather have Goulden, Whitfield, and Rankin than have only one of Goulden or Whitfield, whoever the other player. I don't know who the other player is, but maybe I go for get Whitfield this week because then you can go because you can still do Rankin and McRae next week if you want. But then you could, if Rankin puts up a poor score, and then you just have to miss Goulden maybe. But yeah, I'd go Whitfield this week in that scenario. Will, I'm only going with Bales because I still have Rankin and going Hinder McRae next week and long up. Yep, don't mind that, Will. Says, Bales, you're doing a watch long tonight. Yes, watch long will be starting very shortly. That'll be about half hour's time or so that I'll be doing that one. So looking forward to that. Looking at doing Sam Darcy to $1 million player. I'm assuming that's next week, Andrew, because your trades were good before. But yep, I don't mind doing that next week. And then top 5 trade types is kind of end of play. Yeah, so I did them the other day. So who did I say? I think Merritt was in there. Colby was still in there. I think did I have Nick Dacos in there if you didn't have Nick Dacos? Can't remember who the other guys were actually. Can't remember if I had Whitfield in there. I'm not sure, Connor. If you want to check out my top 5 trade types, honestly, off the top of my head, I can't remember. I did do them in the trade talk video, and I had my top 5 there. I don't have the top 5 on me at the moment, written down. But yeah, I like Merritt. I like Butters. I like Whitfield. I like Goulden. I like McRae. I like McKercher if you don't have him. Nick Dacos. Guys like that. And I had Ashton Moore as a downgrade if you're looking for a forward downgrade because he's 230k, but obviously played last night, so probably can't help you too much. Pies or Suns, says Will. I think I'm still Pies backing them in, but it is up there. People first starting could easily have been upset. I wouldn't be shocked. So it'd be a good game. Looking forward to it. Who averages more for the rest of the season? Dacos, Bont, or Butters? Dacos for me. Dacos is the guy that does it, I reckon. I reckon it's in that order as well that you've got it there. I think Dacos is the number 1, and then Bont 2. I'll just still back Bont in and then Butters at 3, but I think all will go well. Final question we'll go to is from Connor Vanderploeg. Dr. Butters and Rankin to Nick Martin or McRae? Tick them off. Yep, Dr. Butters tick, and then Rankin to Nick Martin. I'd get Martin this week, get McRae next couple of weeks. So that is where we're going to leave it. We'll cut it off there, but appreciate everyone sending through their questions. I'm pretty sure I answered all the questions, but if I did miss your question, I do apologize. I tried to get to as many as I could. So if you do want a guaranteed answer to your questions, sort of either this weekend or moving forward, or you do want a team review every week, head to our Patreon, patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. You get a team review every single week through the Ask Me on Q service, and you get that service for free being a Patreon member. So if you'd like to sign up there, link is in the description below, or you can head to patreon.com/AFL Fantasy Fanatics. Make sure you do smash like on the videos. Everyone watching now, if you can do me a favor, go to the like button, smash a like on it. It really does help us out a whole bunch here. So if you could do that, that'd be fantastic. And also subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't already. We're closing in on 4,100 subscribers. And obviously our next big goal is 5K subscribers. So we're currently on 4,076. We're 24 away from 4,100. So if you haven't subscribed, can help us hit 4,100. That'd be fantastic. And obviously 5K is the big goal. I'll be live in about half an hour's time for the watch long tonight. So looking forward to chatting to a heap of you guys there still. So if you are tuning into that, go grab yourself a refreshment, go a bit of dinner, whatever you want. And I'll chat to you guys in about half hour's time. For anyone that missed it before, my trades this week, I went Loman to Ashton Moyer last night, banked a heap of cash. And I've gone, at the moment, Bergman to Zach Merritt. I'm still tossing up Goulden, Whitfield, Butters, but at the moment, Merritt's sitting in my team with the captaincy on him, and I've got the VC on Dacos. If I don't bring Merritt in, it will be the captain on Nick Munt. Hopefully, Dacos gets it done tonight. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. We'll catch you guys on Watch On tonight, but if not, have a good weekend, guys, and we'll chat to you guys Sunday night for our round review as always. So thanks, everyone. Have a good night and enjoy the weekend of footy. Thanks, everyone. See ya.